Hello, good afternoon. This is just a quick video. Now, with my skin, I've still not been able to see a dermatologist. Now, I am on another course of antibiotics. It's a different type than the type I was on last week. So if we just quickly look at my legs, yes, I know they're hairy, but in reality, if you think about it, I have infections. So the last thing I'm going to want to do is aggravate the skin even more by trying to use hair removal cream or razor blades or any other way of removing the hairs off my legs. And you can actually see where the hairs are on my legs, there are no infections. It's only further down where the infections are that the hairs seem to be limited. And yes, I have plucked the hairs out. I know you're not supposed to, but in some cases where it was apparent that the hair was actually growing under where my skin was trying to heal, there was nothing else realistically I could do. I didn't want to keep breaking the skin, but because the hair, I could actually see the hairs curling up inside and underneath like the scabs. I had no choice. And the moment literally I broke the skin, with some of them, I didn't actually pull the hair out by the root because that can cause more of an infection. I just kind of let it freewheel and the pus kind of drained out on its own. And then I just literally covered those ones with some Germaline and a plaster, which then obviously, once I removed the plaster, pulled some of the hairs out with it by the follicle instead of breaking them off. Now, one of the things that it could potentially be is a type of something called psoriasis, which begins with PH. And the reason why I'm thinking this is because every time I have a new symptom, I put it into Google and I tell my doctor, and they've still not really said anything. So, like a week ago, the first new symptom I had was a cough, which was making me feel like I had the flu. So again, I was really worried, as that could have potentially have been a risk of sepsis, because some of the infections on my legs were a lot more inflamed than they are now. As you can see around this one, there is quite like inflammation, almost as big as like a fingernail. And they've kind of calmed down because of the antibiotics that I've probably been taking. But they've changed those antibiotics, so now I'm on a different type, which is apparently for chest infections. Now, the ones on my legs, here on my feet, here and here on my toe, which is obviously scabbed over, which is brilliant, they were actually like pus-filled spots, which I associated with the fact that maybe I'd got heat stroke or not chilblains, but the ones that you get when it's like really, really hot, not blisters as such. And yes, I know I have really bad bunions. That's what your feet look like when you have bunions. But today and last week, my small pinky, my small toe nail has actually come off. Now, a lot of people are probably saying, oh, well, it could have fell off because you went and had your nails polished at one of those really dodgy nail salons where they use a Dremel tool over the tops of the nails, which I know can damage the nail beds, and then they put like a shellac type nail polish on my toes. This isn't that nail polish. This is a different type that I put on to hide the chips. And now I'm trying to outgrow it. But my small baby toe on my left and my right foot has completely fell off on both sides. Now, one of the things of having psoriasis, depending on the type you have, is side effects of having psoriasis are white-filled pus under the skin, which is what I've had over the last few days. And all of these literally started off looking like small little white spots under my skin. And I did tell my doctor this. I did say, look, they're not bites. I mean, I know I do get a lot of mosquitoes at this time of the year in the garden. and I do have to be vigilant. And the fact that I've had a cough, like an upper respiratory tract infection, which I know can cause health problems, and now the fact that my baby toenails have fallen off on both feet as well. Now with this one, I'm going to be honest, I kept banging that the other day. Like, I must have banged my foot like several times within a 24-hour period. So that one's probably just fallen off because I've banged it so many times that it's obviously weakened the nail bed and it's fell off. But with my left, I haven't banged that once. So, and I haven't really been wearing shoes much either, because I've not been anywhere that requires shoes. And both these ones here and those ones on my other foot actually happened when I was at home. I was at home, I wasn't doing anything. All of a sudden, my legs, all of both of my arms started feeling really, really itchy again, to the point where I just wanted to get a knife and literally cut my skin off. That's how bad it felt. And those ones actually appeared last week as I was on a course of antibiotics. Now, I do know that my blood cell count is high. They were quite passive about it at the hospital, but it's really down to my doctor to say, look, we need to make sure this is on your medical records, that if it is higher than this, then you need to go for proper tests. At the moment, they haven't bothered to send me to dermatology or even put me on the waiting list for dermatology. So it is something I'm going to have to request. But realistically, I won't do it until after I finish the course of antibiotics. The reason for doing that is basically because the first thing that any dermatologist is going to ask me is, what medication are you on? And if I say, well, I'm on antibiotics, they're going to be like, okay, well, why are you here? Come back when you finish the course of treatment. And so that is basically why I will hold off for another week. Sorry. I think my cough may be improving, but I can't really say, because like with most coughs and any fluid on your lungs or in your throat, it seems to affect you more when you're lying down as opposed to standing up. But if it is a type of psoriasis with my legs and my arms, then at least they'll hopefully be on the right track. Now, I wasn't even aware until I Googled it today that there was more than one type. Because people have asked me this before, could it be psoriasis? And I've gone, oh, that's a type of eczema, isn't it? And they've gone, kind of. And I'm like, well, I don't show signs of eczema on my skin. It's not like all of the marks on my skin are patchy, or they're not like around my knees or at the back of my knees or where my joints are. And usually I would associate psoriasis, not being medically trained, as a type of eczema. And eczema, obviously, it would accumulate in a certain area. But the fact that this is more like a direct line, literally from my kneecap all the way down to my feet. There are some on the back of my legs, but they're mainly on the inside. So again, people have said to me, oh, maybe it's the way you sleep. Maybe in the night you've sweated without realizing, and what it's done is it's irritated the skin. So again, I've got into the habit of, wearing pajama bottoms that are cotton. And then during the day, I'll wear shorts. So again, I'm allowing my body to breathe. I'm not constantly keeping my legs covered. I'm wanting them to get better, but for some reason they're not. So I'll have another chat with my doctor after I finish the antibiotics. I hope everyone who is watching the Olympics is enjoying it. Obviously, I'm not at the moment. I'm in my AKA office. But I just thought, with the fact that literally, would it be my video without a yawn, that I was literally, like I said, sitting here and all of a sudden I noticed my small baby toenail was hanging off, and I was like, okay, I'll Google that and see whether or not there could be a reason that that's happening. And now I know that that could be potentially linked to psoriasis. I will ask my doctor and see if they reckon that this may be what is wrong. But again, if they're not 100% sure, I'd rather they didn't just keep putting me on different courses of antibiotics or different creams in the hope that something will work. I'm at the point now where I'm saying, look, we really need to figure out what is causing this so that the right course of treatment can be given. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday and take care of you.